This is the worst possible news for independents, because independents have depended on the long tail. They've depended on adults who watch and consume the movies in pay television or in the video windows. They have absolutely built their business model predicated on that structure. And yet Hollywood is telling you, I'm sorry, shuckins, gosh, Rudy, I'm such a nice person. I am Mr. Hollywood. I can't actually do that with your movies anymore. Think Films, WIP, Picture House, Miramax. The list goes, MGM UA, the list goes, Fine Line, goes on and on and on, of American distribution companies that were the blessing for independent filmmakers. Fox Searchlight focuses more on comedies, doesn't do as many movies. Screen Gems, they're basically a genre piece. Sony Classics, they get their 3 or 4 viewers and people go home. Oh no, this isn't pleasant. You'll hate me and never talk to me again, but that's okay. I'm escaping to the border where there are other people after me. You look at this and you start realizing, I walk in with an independent movie. I spent $10 million. Okay, I'm in Canada. I spent $5 million on this movie. That's a lot of money, distributor. You should be knocking at my door and tearing it down because I have this value proposition. Distributor looks at the movie and says, okay, get in line. There are 4,000 to 5,000 other people who've made an independent movie this year. Huh? Well, mine's better. How do I know? I'm telling you. Okay, 5 million, but I need a movie that opens theatrically. I need a movie I can open wide, because I listened to that idiot Peter Dekom, and Peter Dekom told me that the back end is eroding. And therefore, I have to generate more revenues from the theatrical release. So if you don't give me a movie I can open wide to generate the theatrical revenues that Peter Dekom is predicting by 2011 are going to be 40 to 50% of the pie, as opposed to 21%, your movie doesn't have value to me. Huh? Wide release? No. This is a platform. It needs loving TLC. It needs to be nurtured into the marketplace. We don't nurture. Go to a nursing home. They nurture. Cruel. These guys are harsh. Think I'm harsh? I'm a sweetie pie compared to what they're like. What do we do? Well, let's take a look at the numbers. Toronto Film Festival, there were a lot of pickups this past year, right? Oh, there weren't. Sundance. Everybody knows Sundance is where you get rich, right? There were 3,724 submissions of feature films to Sundance. That's a lot. 113 of them got selected. Lucky, lucky you. Oh, boy. And 11 pictures got picked up. Wow, 11 movies. The indie market's alive. Now let's look at the numbers. Don't spoil it with numbers, but hey, you know, that's me, spoiler. We had 2 movies that sold for kind of okay money. $3.2 million, $4.8 million. I have a critical list at the back. There's still some deals being negotiated, but they're post-Sundance. But most of the movies that were picked up were 1 or 2 million or 6 figures. We can really build a business on 6-figure pickups for U.S. rights. Oh boy, I know that's a good thing. Okay, it isn't. What would Canada be like if film subsidies disappeared? What would happen to the filmmakers who depend? I mean, one of the wonderful things about Canada is it nurtures talent, but it doesn't create commercial businesses. It creates artists. And unfortunately, we have this metaphor that's gone through the ages of starving artists. If you're not a commercial artist, you are a starving artist, unless you live in Canada. Okay. So let's take another look at some of the analytical changes that are going on in the way we look at marketing and how we reach an audience. We've moved, because of the complexity of marketing, and the cost of reaching so many different pieces. We've now done psychographic segmentation analysis. Now that sounds really complicated. A lot of you know what it means. A psychographic as opposed to a demographic. A demographic is objective criteria, race, age, sex, etc. Psychographic criteria are common attitudes and lifestyles. And a psychographic can embrace people in different age groups. A demographic basically is targeting those objectively labeled criteria of being a human being. Psychographic analysis means I am going to try and find a message that unites everybody in that psychographic. The problem is in marketing today is even if I find that message, I have to deliver it demographically. That means my technology for reaching the audience literally depends on where they go. So I have to take the same uniform message for that psychographic, find out which demographic segments are relevant and they like my product, my movie, my television show, whatever it is, and tailor my marketing for each one of those segments with a grid, psychographic on top of demographic. In case you wanted to know why it's expensive. If you're in a younger demographic, and often some psychographics, I can't push my message to you. I have to let you find it. I have to let your peer leaders evaluate it. I have to let you discover it and bring it closer to you. I need to make it clearly something that's relevant to you. If I'm dealing with the old farts of the world, I push it out to you. I saturate. I got billboards, television. Newspapers? Huh? What's a newspaper? I don't know. I think it's used for lining of pet. What are people going to use for lining their bird cages in the future? Printouts? I don't know. Interesting. Maybe there's a business there. So it's a very, very complex world. And what's really interesting, people talk about metadata. I love that. We have great words for things. Metadata is finding out anything we can about you, whether you want us to know it or not. Every time you do something, we want to know about it. How much data is there about you guys? Lots. The United States Library of Congress has about 20 terabytes of text. There's a company called Axiom that gathers personal information on Americans and Canadians. It includes birth certificates, marriage certificates, personal information. 850 terabytes. Google has over 2,000 terabytes. Walmart about 800 terabytes. I think they should be spelled T-E-R-R-O-R. Now, people over 30 actually think privacy matters. Yeah. You think your personal information, your medical history, your sexual proclivities, your purchasing habits, that should be private. It's between you and the credit card company that was hacked yesterday.